sim racing chassis provided by Next Level Racing. Check them out at nextlevelracing.com.
Welcome to Inside Sim Racing. I'm John Sable alongside Darin and John, and have a really cool test drive today because we have early access to iRacing's latest track, the Nordschleife.
This is an iconic track.
It is.
I honestly never thought that this track was going to come to iRacing.
Such a big endeavor.
Just because of the magnitude of, and I talked to Greg Hill, who is the lead on track development, and he said it was the biggest track and project that they've ever had to work on. And I told him and we'll just say this now, this is a amazing version of the Green Hell. It's probably my favorite version right now.
Yes.
And I was talking to you today about this. I've driven probably 10 different versions of this track over the years. Never in real life, man, that would be awesome. But yeah, this was really cool to experience.
Absolutely. And before we get started, we're going to share a little bit of facts and the history of the track.
And the car that we drove with it, the Aston DBR9. Construction started for Nordschleife in September of 1925, and the track opened in June of 1927. It has a reputation as a terrifying and merciless route through the Eiffel Forest. Formula One legend Jackie Stewart was so impressed by the circuit that he gave it the name, which will probably never lose, the Green Hell. The best known event today is the ADAC Zurich 24-hour race, which is held on both the Nordschleife and the Grand Prix circuit, and which for 4 days transforms the entire circuit into a huge spectacle. Jeremy Clarkson noted in Top Gear in 2004 that over the years this track has claimed over 200 lives. 1976 was the last year that the full circuit hosted the F1 Grand Prix after Niki Lauda's horrendous wreck there. Track length is 20.832 kilometers or 12.944 miles. It's got 73 turns, including 33 left and 40 right. Tourist drive prices in 2016 for one lap, it's €29 up to a season ticket, which is €1,900. So, man, I wish we lived close to there because I think I'd maybe even opt for a season ticket.
Yeah.
And just like one day a week go run the Nordschleife.
Yeah, can we pool our assets together and share that?
Yeah. Yeah, hey, yeah, like a shared, like a corporate.
Yeah.
So now on to the car, the Aston Martin DBR9 GT1 car. It's based on the road-going Aston Martin DB9, and the DBR9 retains the chassis, V12 engine block, and cylinder heads of the DB9. The rest of the car is fully re-engineered for high-performance competition. It weighs 1170 kilograms or 2579 pounds. It's got a 60-degree aluminum V12 dual overhead cam with 4 valves per cylinder. It's 6 liters. Max power output is 600 horsepower, and the max torque is 650 newton meters or 479.4 foot-pounds at 5,500 RPMs.
So you're pretty much telling me it's a very serious car.
This thing's a beast. It was fun to drive too. Neither of us had a lot of experience driving this car before this, and it's definitely, I'd say, one of my favorite cars in iRacing. It's a lot of fun to drive.
Feels great.
Thing sounds incredible too.
Yes.
So we did our test drive competition where both of us set out to run as fast as lap as we can. Base setup. I just did the gear ratio, which I probably shouldn't have because the thing was kind of bogging on top end. But other than that, it's just the base setup. And again, just the Nordschleife, not the GP course included. I had probably a little more experience with the car where you have more experience and have kind of mastered the track to an extent. So anyway, John beat me. Just throw it out there. He beat me by 5 seconds. I ran a 6:57. Yeah, 6:57, or you beat me by like 6.5 seconds. You ran a 6:50.422 or something like that. So anyway, here's John's lap. We're going to do a little bit of commentary throughout the lap, talking about the track, the car, showing some. We want to talk about some sparks from under the car, which is really cool. New feature in iRacing. So without further ado, here it is. Okay, John starts his lap here. You know, turn 1 is a little hectic.
Turn 1, you gotta brake pretty early.
And it is like a crest coming into it, so you gotta be prepared for it.
I have to say, this is one of my favorite sections of the track. Unfortunately, you get it done within the first mile, but I just really love the flow of all these S's.
It does have a great flow. And you know, something about this version of the track just kind of seems different in certain sections to me. Some corners seem a little tighter. Some elevation changes or crests seem a little bit different. Like this one, for instance, seemed a little more abrupt. Like this corner, for instance, seems a little bit faster than what I'm used to.
What I really notice that's different from previous versions, especially Assetto Corsa, which I have probably nearly 100 laps around, are the trees. The trees they're just different, and I assume they're very accurate.
See the sparks? We just had some sparks coming off the car there.
Nice. But yeah, the trees kind of give this track a whole new feel, and it makes some corners definitely feel very different.
Speaking of corners, lots of blind corners in this track, and that's where you really got to get used to, without running it a bunch. You know, coming into some of these corners for the first time, it's really tough.
This is my first real mistake of the lap. Got in there a little too hot.
Yeah, you went a little deep there. Pushed it a little wide. Kind of missed the apex there too.
And this section, this comes at you really quick, and it reminds me of a roller coaster.
Yeah, I think this is where you really started beating me too, because I was kind of tiptoeing through here where you were almost flat out through portions of that.
Oh, and this corner is so tough. You got to get on the brakes real hard here, and I pushed a bit wide because I was like, this corner is gonna come eventually. It just keeps on going.
Yeah, and this little section too is tough. Coming down this hill and into this left-hander, you got to brake hard for this. Down into second gear, kind of missed the apex there, and then up this hill. This seems a little slower than what I'm used to.
Yeah, this is.
Did that section, that corner, feel slower to you?
Yeah, it's tight. And this corner is very deceiving. You really gotta get on the brakes here because the radius tightens up about mid-corner, and you can get yourself in a world of hurt.
Now this is just flat out through here.
Yeah, this is all flat out.
I love this. Is probably one of my favorite sections of the course.
And this section feels different from previous versions.
It does. Like I thought this right-hander right here was, or maybe it was earlier, I don't know. I just, maybe it's because of the trees like you were saying. I thought there was a tighter right-hander earlier, but again, I just made me deceived. And then this corner you just got to slow a little bit for. It's almost flat out.
Almost.
Maybe, I bet with a good setup, you might even be able to take that flat out. And then that's flat out through there, and I tiptoed through there. And then then a blind corner here, you gotta get on the brakes hard.
And then approaching one of the most difficult corners because this takes a lot of restraint.
Yeah, and this corner seems a little bit longer than what I'm used to too. It just kind of goes forever.
It does.
Sparks coming off the car again.
Yeah, the new sparks look really great.
Yeah, they do. And you're not going to see it in this test drive, but there's some new dirt effects too that iRacing's implemented. This is a pretty fast section through here too.
Yeah, this is kind of the second set of S's, and these ones get almost a bit disorienting if you're not familiar with the track, because they come up on you real quick, and most of them are blind, so you really got to have this section memorized. And here's my biggest mistake of the lap, where I had such good flow, and then I just lack of concentration.
Yeah, that was your only off.
Yep. And Through this section, there's some new rumble strip sounds, which are pretty much, I think they're picking up the sound of when you go over pavers, and they're very high pitch, and they sound really cool, and it's something you don't pick up on TV very often. But if you actually,
caught air there, did you see that?
Nice. But if you actually go to a race, when you hear the cars hit the rumble strips, it'd be a very quick, like, whoop sound,
Yeah.
and iRacing did a really nice job capturing it.
Yeah, they did.
Here we are approaching towards the end of the lap. I definitely took this corner too gingerly, but
Well, I pushed it too hard.
Yes, that was your corner you like to go off at, but I was trying just to get it home. And that last banked corner, that kind of came and went really quick. I was kind of surprised.
Now this corner, this section seems a lot different. This elevation here, this dip coming down through this little valley, it doesn't seem as fast as before. And some of the other versions, you could almost like
Flat-foot it.
There's like a kind of a kink entering it where you got to slow a little bit, and then it's flat foot throughout the rest, and you couldn't do that. Another thing I noticed about this version, this section of the track is bumpy.
Yes.
This is really bumpy.
Something else that we haven't mentioned so far is there's a ton of graffiti on this track. Like, there are some spots where it is thick, and it's really cool looking when you're driving.
Well, and something I never really noticed too is all the graffiti on the guardrails. It looks like they have every little bit of graffiti, even on the, not only on the track, but on the guardrails as well. Okay, there you have it. So John, that's twice in one day, because we filmed this yesterday, that you beat me. So congratulations, buddy.
Thank you. Glad to even the score
I
up.
was going to say the score is even now, 2-2.
Yes.
2-2. So, because we did some other test drives, and I ended up, one I got lucky because you messed up on, and the other one I think I just beat you outright, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm mostly glad just not crash this time.
Me too. I mean, going through that track at speed, and especially when you're competing, and show you some footage of me driving here too, it is not an easy task. It's a handful. So that was a lot of fun, and again, beautifully rendered version of this track. They just did an incredible job. iRacing definitely pulled out all the stops for this one.
Yes.
So set to be available on December 8th with the new build. F1 cars coming, the Nürburgring GP circuit, which by the way you buy separately. You have to buy Nordschleife and the GP circuit to get the combined full version.
Correct.
And again, it's going to be available December 8th. We're planning a special event with this track too. In January, you're going to do like maybe a 6-hour or something GT3 car race, which we were talking about that pit exit. That's going to make things interesting. It is a tight pit exit.
Oh, there's going to be so much 1Xs from leaving the pits as quickly as you can.
I'm sure, and maybe even some accidents. So anyway, we're going to wrap things up with John's full lap from the TV1 camera on its own, so you can hear the car, flying by, which the Aston Martin just sounds amazing. And then you can see Nordschleife in all its glory. So that's going to wrap things up, except for that. Stay tuned for that full lap of the replay. For John Sable, I'm Darin Ganji. Hopefully you've enjoyed this test drive. We'll see you guys next time.